Good evening. Welcome to Christian Answers Live. I'm Lee Meckley, Director of Radio Outreach for Christian Answers. Now, Dr. Adams, you are going to begin tonight's debate. Each of these gentlemen will have 10 minutes to present their position, 10 minutes each, and then we're going to have 5 minutes each of rebuttals, and then we're going to have 2 minutes each of a closing statement, and then next hour we're going to get into question and answers. These gentlemen will have an opportunity to ask questions of one another. I'm going to be asking questions, and you, the listeners, are going to have the opportunity to ask questions, and again we'll be opening our phone lines during the next hour. Having said all of that, Dr. Adams, from right now you have 10 minutes to present your position.
Okay, let me say hi to John, first of all. Glad to be on here with you. I don't think we've ever met, have we?
No, I don't think we have.
Well, maybe someday we will.
Yes.
In all fairness, what you said, Lee, isn't exactly accurate. Premillennialism, of course, was in early days a viable option, just as Amillennialism was. Justin Martyr, for example, around 100 spoke about premillennialism, and he espoused it himself, and so did some of the other early fathers of the church. So even though it faded and then came back again around 1800, particularly in its pre-trib form in 1830 and thereafter, nobody ever had pre-tribulation premillennial views presented before the Irvingite and Darby movement, but they certainly, a premillennial view of a different sort, a post-trib view, was prevalent early in the church. So I want to set that straight, and I'm sure that John would like to do that too. The view that I hold is not really amillennialism. I think that's a very terrible word. It speaks as though you don't believe that there is 1,000 years mentioned in Revelation 20, and of course we do believe in 1,000 years that's mentioned in Revelation 20. What I would prefer to call it is the realized millennial views over against the two unrealized millennial views. Post-millennialism and premillennialism have a lot in common because both of them are looking forward to an earthly 1,000-year period here in this world before the eternal state, and before the world is dissolved, and before people live in the new heavens and the new earth. And so they're really looking forward to something that's future. They're both futuristic views. Now, they disagree as to when and that will happen and as to what will bring it to pass, but they certainly do look forward. The so-called amillennialist, or realized millennialist, as I prefer to call it, is one who believes that the 1,000-year period is representative of the period that's often called the church age, the period in which we're now living. It's a view that says that the book of Revelation is full of symbols. You have a giant dragon knocking down stars with its tail. You have, in the very 20th chapter, an angel dealing with chains and locking Satan up and putting him in a bottomless pit and things of that sort. And so you have symbolic items in this book, and you have 144,000, 12,000 exactly of this tribe, that tribe, and the other tribe, obviously speaking of Jewish people. And so symbolically, 1,000 years is a long period of time, and that's what we view this as being. Now, one of the things that we're concerned about in talking about millennialism is the idea that people have stuffed into this 1,000 years of Revelation 20 all kinds of passages that really there is no evidence have anything to do with it. Many, many, many Old Testament passages are said to be expletive of what the 1,000-year period is all about. But if you read Revelation 20 carefully, it only says one thing, and that is that during the 1,000 years, the souls of the martyrs reign, and it says that the devil is bound in one respect only, and that is that he might deceive the Gentiles no more during that 1,000-year period. I would say to you that the only real difference that you see visibly, one of the major differences of what Christ did on the cross, is that the devil has been bound in that respect. In the Old Testament era, Gentiles went their way apart from God, apart from Israel, apart from the truth of God in the Old Testament and from the prophets and from salvation. But the church today is largely a Gentile church. This is the times of the Gentiles which are to be fulfilled before the coming of Christ. And so very readily that fits the picture of the 1,000 years that we're talking about as being a period of time in which we are now living. The martyrs who are talked about in that passage are martyrs who during the period that the book of Revelation is speaking about were killed and who are living and reigning with him. The book of Revelation is not speaking about some future period. Again and again in the book we're told, for example, in the first part of the book, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show to his servants, even the things that must shortly come to pass, for the time is at hand. And also in chapter 22, verse 6, we read about the things that must shortly come to pass. And especially you read at the end of the book, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand. Now, Revelation and Daniel have a lot in common, and one of the things they have in common is that they both speak about sealing or not sealing their books in the last chapter. The book of Daniel says, seal up the words of the prophecy of this book, because it was prophesying things that had to do with the Greek and the Roman empires, which are way off in the future, not even a whisper in people's minds at that moment. And yet the book of Revelation, in contrast to Daniel, which was looking way into the distant future, says, do not seal the words of the prophecy of this book, because the time is at hand. These things are about to take place. And so these were the martyrs who died under the Jewish persecution against the church, who died under the Roman persecution against the church, and who were living and reigning with Christ. All the way through the book of Revelation, we read about these martyrs. There's a martyr trail, you might call it, through the book of Revelation. It's of deep concern to them, to the writer, to John, as to what will happen to these martyrs. And this was the book that enabled Christians by the hundreds of thousands to endure the persecutions that were coming upon them in the near future. And they did. This book was given in order to help people, not in some far distant period to which it would have which would have no relevance to people then, but to help people right then and there who were going to face this Roman beast and who were going to face the Jewish persecution prior to that. What the book of Revelation is all about is how God deals with those enemies of the church, brings them to an end, the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 A.D., and clearly this book is before 70 A.D. because the temple still stands. It tells you which rulers were still in existence in Rome, and it places it prior to that destruction, and the Roman persecutions that were going to occur and devastate the church so seriously. And so what we have here is a book that is dealing with the near future from John's time, and which then was a great support to the church going through the tribulations and difficulties that they experienced in those early days under Rome and, first of all, the Jewish persecutions of which Paul was a part. So what we believe then about this matter is that, as Peter said, we're looking for a new heavens and a new earth in which righteousness dwells. And like the New Testament preachers, we preach about the heaven that is yet to come, the eternal state that's yet to come, the new earth that's yet to come, all those new things. And
if you like our YouTube channel, please subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button and then by also clicking the bell above to get an automatic update whenever we produce another YouTube video for our See Answers TV channel. Please share our videos with your friends and relatives. May God bless you. Only one life will soon be passed. Only what is done for Christ will last. To see the full-length video, please select by tapping on the first screen to the right. To see the entire playlist where this particular video is found, select by tapping on a touchscreen on a cell phone or by clicking on a regular computer. The second screen to the right.